program, two fantastic members of the acting community. They're here from CMT to talk about their new show, Spring Awakening. Tyler and Emma.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you guys?
So good.
Great. How are you?
Fine, I'm doing fine. I woke up about an hour ago to do this shoot, so, you know.
The usual.
The usual.
Not cash.
No. What?
What?
Anyway, so tell us a little about yourselves. Like, who is Tyler Rosati? Who is Emma Amelia?
Well, I'm Emma Amelia.
Okay.
And I am from Issaquah, Washington. I attend Clark University.
Yes.
I'm a biology major, and I'm a sophomore, and this is my second CMT production.
What was your first CMT production?
Assassins last fall.
Do you think that this is going to be superior to Assassins?
I think it is very different from Assassins, but I have faith that it will be superior to Assassins.
Fabulous.
I am Tyler. I'm a junior chemistry major. Science.
Science.
I am the current treasurer of Clark Musical Theater as well, so I'm also producing this musical, and this is my fourth production with CMT, which is exciting.
It is exciting. As treasurer, do you often like take unnecessary funds to like get unnecessary props? And just be like,
I've been trying. I've really been dying for like bread bowls from Domino's all the time. But I spend CMT's money on bread bowls. No is the answer.
there's not like a scene in Spring Awakening where you
That
can
need
have
bread bowls.
bread bowls.
There was that scene in Assassin.
In Assassin where we had to have food.
Yeah, but no bread bowls for me.
Oh.
Sadly, I have to use my money for good. With great responsibility comes great power. Bounce
And
backward.
great bread bowls.
And great bread bowls.
And great bread bowls. Surely, surely. So let's talk a little about this production then. Like, who's directing it? It's Josh Bartier,
Yes,
isn't
our
it?
director is Josh Bartier. He's a Worcester native, but who currently works alternatively switching between New York and London. So he's a fancy professional, which is very exciting. We were very lucky to have him do our production of Footloose in the spring. He was coming back to Worcester for a month, conveniently during our rehearsal time, and we were like, "Oh, come do this!" And he was like, "Oh, all right." And he really enjoyed working with CMT to a point where he pushed back his return to London to work with us one more time.
Goodness, that is fabulous. He's mainly an actor though, isn't that what he does, or is he a director? Or like?
He's switching, which is exciting. He was originally just an actor. He's actually a dancer. He danced at Juilliard, and then he was an actor for a while. Now he's like an actor / director, at the same time.
That's awfully helpful, isn't it? Because you can just have your choreographer and director all in one.
All in one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That gets confusing sometimes, doesn't it? Where the choreographer's like, you should do this, and the director comes in a couple minutes later like, no, don't do that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's exciting to have one person who
Yeah.
does it all. And it adds a nice fluidity to the show.
I would say so. So, Spring Awakening. This is a very popular show in New York, and it has been for a bit now, but many people may not have heard of this. So why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
So it's set in Germany in 1891, and it's based on a play by Frank Wedekind.
Yes.
Wedekind, I'm saying his name correctly. It was a German play written in the 19th century, and it wasn't a big hit as he considered.
It was banned for 100 years. He released it in 1888, I believe, and it was literally banned and not produced until 1988 because it covers weird subject matter such as like rape, homosexuality, suicide, incest, beating by parents, very heavy subjects that people in the 19th century were just not prepared to talk about yet.
And it's kind of still aren't today.
And still aren't.
But
Duncan Sheik and Sater,
Steven Sater,
what's his first name? Decided that they really liked the play and they really enjoyed it, and they were confused as to why it was a story that wasn't told more, and so they wanted to modernize it. So what they did was they took the original play, which is still set in the 19th century, so it's a period piece. Our costumes are all the period pieces, but they decided to add modern rock music on top of it, which doesn't change the story in any way. It just tells the inner monologues of each of the characters. Like, instead of the silences filling the room and you wondering, it lets them speak their voice for the first time. And it's this really cool piece of letting silences of children be heard through music. And it's really exciting to see them grow.
That is exciting. I guess Yeah, are there many other musicals like, well, recently we did Footloose, and that's sort of like a coming of age, like of kids getting into business and like things we don't want to talk about, but this is a little bit more intense.
Yeah, it's definitely a departure from Footloose. But yeah, I think a lot of theater and a lot of musical theater in general kind of deals with that coming of age. And Spring Awakening especially is about silence and about why we're silent and why we struggle to talk about the most important things. And I think, you know, it's set in the 19th century, but it still is so important, and I think that's why we feel like it's an important story to be told.
And the music's good too, isn't it?
And the music's amazing. Duncan Sheik is amazing, and he wasn't a musical theater composer, which I think is why it's so popular, because people who think, oh, musical theater, that's really campy, like, that's boring, I don't want to come see it, you know, people who appreciate rock music, who appreciate alternative music, love the score to this show. And it's really, I mean, it's fun to sing from a musical theater perspective, because it's not traditional musical theater singing either, it's not, you know, legit opera singing, certainly. And also for these characters who feel so restricted in their everyday lives, when you kind of switch into this song world, you're so liberated because it's rock music. It's, you know, everybody can kind of...
Everyone wants to be that rock star.
Yeah.
And it's the first time where these kids, like, get to be that rock star. Like, when you're rocking out in the shower and singing to yourself, like, that's what this show is. A bunch of moments of kids finally being able for the first time to sing in the shower and rock out.
And I imagine that was something that all teenagers in the 19th century were interested in.
We're not able to do.
We're not.
Not able. All right. In terms of opera, do you think that CMT will ever actually just do an opera?
I don't think operas are very difficult.
I think the music department would take that over before we did.
Operas are hard. Like
Operas
Pirates of Penzance, sort of operas.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Emma here would vocally be able to handle an opera, but I don't know if anyone else in CMT has that operatic voice about them.
I'll just do an opera by myself.
I think that would be good.
One lady opera.
One lady opera. I'll write it. Write it, direct it, choreograph it.
Emma Amelia, one night only.
Or you could just take an already written play and just play all the parts.
True.
A one woman Les Mis.
One woman Les Mis.
Yeah.
I'll do La Boheme by myself.
Oh my god. Love Boheme.
So good.
Yep.
I always want to pitch Barbara Seville though. It's like the best opera.
Oh.
You need to see it, Tyler. I can tell you haven't seen it.
How could you tell? Was right, opera.
Opera.
It's like Bugs Bunny, you know. You've seen the one where he Rafael like on stage like singing. It's the overture to Barbara Seville.
Oh, is it with the Viking horns?
No, that's a different one. I forget that. But yeah.
But you know Bugs
That's a good
Bunny,
one.
so
But
that's
I
the
know
bonus.
Bugs Bunny. Point.
Point given, sir. All right. Tell us a little about like what the actual plot is. Like, what's the storyline to this piece? Like, there's a lot of stuff going on, but what is it?
So the basis of Spring Awakening is we are in 19th century Germany. We are set in a world where a bunch of young students are at the age of schooling. That's a thing. No, I said that. At the age of schooling. And
They're
what-
teenagers.
They're
They're about
teenagers,
12 to 14.
about to hit puberty, which is always a scary time in their lives. And the basic plotline is the story is Venla, the leading lady, played by Ali Russo, wants to know where babies come from. It seems like a silly question now, but in 19th century Germany, girls would not know. And so it's her trying to figure out where babies come from. At the same time, Melchior Gabor is trying to separate himself from religion and schooling. And he feels like he has a quest for knowledge that isn't satisfied by schooling. And it's them going through this journey of puberty and then meeting each other and then discovering sex together without knowing necessarily what it is, and then the consequences that happen because they're not informed. And it's a bunch of other students are there as well, and it's just the consequences and the devastation that happens to teenagers when they aren't made aware of what's going on to their own bodies.
And Tyler plays Moritz.
So I play Moritz, Melchior's best friend, and Moritz is, I'd say, a late bloomer. He hasn't really figured out what's going on with his own body. He's also perpetually failing school, which is disappointing to him because he stays up every night having these dreams of, he has basically wet dreams every night. He doesn't know what they are. And so he goes through his life constantly struggling with trying to figure out who he is and what his body is and what's going on. And it ends up leading him down a very dark path that he cannot be saved from.
And I play Ilsa, who was one of the schoolgirls in the community, but she was raped by her father and tries to bring awareness to it and tries to tell someone about it and is ultimately ostracized from her community and is living, she's about 14 and is living kind of on her own in this artist community. And we kind of see her separation from the community and she ends up running into Moritz. And is just kind of quite separate from their lives now.
Interesting things. It sounds like a fabulous production. I'm really excited for it.
It's really modern and it's really cool. It does this really cool juxtaposition where it's like 19th century German world, and then like the lights change and we pull out like microphones and we have like rocking solos that don't fit in this 19th century German world, and then we go back into it. So it's really exciting to see the two worlds play against each other.
Is it like the Jets and Tanks and Jesus Christ Superstar?
I wish I knew Jesus Christ. I know.
I mean, it's a little more extreme, honestly. It's like
Jekyll and Hyde.
It's quite...
Again, late 19th century.
But we're doing Jekyll and Hyde, the musical. No,
That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Did you get two people to play Jekyll and Hyde? Is that how it's done, or is it one guy?
I don't know. That's a question.
Because Beauty and the Beast, it's usually two people.
No, it's always the same.
Is it the same guy who just throws off the costume?
Yeah. That's a big costume change.
Yeah, it is. That's interesting. I don't know. I've been looking into like how they do that transformation. Like there are different productions that are different. But
my favorite, they do one where they tightrope him and they spin him, and while spinning his costume,
everything like comes off.
What?
Yep.
And then it's like there's a man in there.
Oh my god. The original one, I just found like the blueprints for it. It's like the blueprints because here's the thing. The guy walks up on a platform. And then there's like this, like the bell jar with like the flower inside of it, and the way the lighting is, like you can't see the beast. It like goes in, but then like he comes out as the man, and like there's like some mirrors and some magic and stuff.
I did a production of Beauty and the Beast.
Who are you?
I was Silly Girl number 3.
Yes.
Obviously.
Silly girls.
No, but they just had like a mask, and he just like went behind a door and took it off and was like, "I'm a man." It was good. Middle school.
Yeah, that's the best time for musical.
So good.
So let's talk masturbation. Lady and gentlemen, there are some inappropriate themes in this play. Now, people are going to be saying things like, "Oh no, I don't know if I want to go see that," or are they? Are they going to say like, "Oh, this has some interesting content that I might want to see"? That was poorly phrased, but I'll trust that you can answer.
The word inappropriate is interesting to me. And a lot of people are like, there's very inappropriate subject matter, and I don't think it's inappropriate per se. It's less talked about, and I think that's what's so important about this piece, is things that are in the piece, such as, like, specifically the scene that I was explaining is the rape scene and the beating scene is, they're so silenced in our society, like, people don't talk about them, and because we do not talk about them, it happens without us knowing. And I think what's important and why it's so important to have these subjects in our piece is that by talking about them and by bringing them to light to the community and to the society, it brings up issues in our own world. And why this piece was so powerful now as it was in 1881, 89, whenever it was, is because we look at a piece that was written in the 19th century and the problems that exist in that world. They're not talking about silly, like masturbation, they're not talking about sex, they're not talking about beatings and abortions and all the things that happen in this piece. By not talking about them, we hide them and they still exist in this underworld around us. But by bringing them to light and seeing that these issues still exist, and they still exist because we have not talked about them. And I think it's not something we should hide, and that's why we're doing Spring Awakening, is that we're not hiding these issues. We're talking about them, we're bringing them up, and we're not afraid, and we're not going to censor ourselves. Because it's not inappropriate, it's just not, our society views it as something we shouldn't talk about when we should be doing it.
Sure. And I guess when I say inappropriate, I mean possibly for a younger audience. Obviously, we're all in college, but like, would you give this to an elementary school to do? This, like, the toned down...
Spring Awakening Junior.
Spring Awakening Junior. I would see that.
No, and I think, you know, it is pretty clearly labeled, and we're trying to let people know that there is content that they may not, you know, feel comfortable watching, and I think that is kind of the point, is that we are uncomfortable with it, and, you know, it's something that we need to address as a cast, and something that is addressed, you know, in the production. But I think something that I really like about the Clark community is that I feel like they're able to, you know, go to a show like this and not giggle through the whole thing. And if they do giggle, they wonder why they're giggling. And so I think that's why we feel comfortable putting on this production here and now.
Excellent. Now, Emma, we understand you're a bit of a starlet. Is this true?
I would not say starlet,
I would.
but I really enjoyed it. I was part of a program in my hometown of Issaquah at the Village Theater, which is an amazing, amazing theater that produces amazing work, and it's community professional theater in my area, and actually Next to Normal was kind of produced there. And they have a kid stage program which works with professional actors and or has, you know, the kids work with professional actors, and I did 4 productions there, and yeah, I mean, I loved it. I was in 4 productions. I was in Last Exit, which was kind of an improv-based show that was written there, The Secret Garden, Into the Woods, and All Shook Up. And I guess my biggest role was probably Into the Woods, where I played Cinderella with some amazing, amazing people, and definitely kind of just taught me a lot about professionalism. And you know, now I'm doing a biology major, but the fact that I had the opportunity to do that, definitely awesome.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people miss out on that, where like high school theater isn't the only way to go. There's a ton of regional theaters that live around people that offer like teaching of youth to educate them. Like, I'm from the Boston area, and like me and Alyssa Lagrasso, who are both in, which is weird, me and Alyssa Lagrasso, who are both in Spring Awakening, actually lived near each other in high school, and we both got training at the same regional theater. It's sort of the same type of program as Stoneham Theater, and like basically the same thing of like having professionals of like the area come and teach master classes and have you teach musicals, so you get not like an edge up, but you get like a taste of the professional world. And I feel like CMT is becoming more professional because people not being like me, Emma, Alyssa, me, but like we have like this training, we have this professional training and air about us, and we're bringing that, and we're trying to make CMT a lot more professional in that same manner, which is very exciting.
And I think we all agree that you're doing good work here. Everybody in CMT is doing good work for the future, for our children. Are there any final words that you'd like to give our audience at home?
Spring Awakening opens November 15th to the 17th. It's a Thursday, Friday, and double show on Saturday. So it's 7:30 Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and also 2 o'clock on Saturday. It's a really exciting piece. We're working very, very hard on it, and we would love to have everyone there.
It's going to be great. Go see it.